Good morning. What a crazy market. 1 second. All right. Last night was wild. I don't know if there was news, but if anybody was watching last night, what was going on at around this time, the markets tanked, stopped, reversed right back up to the high. I don't know what caused that. I suppose some news item, but I was doing some stuff and had my screens open and saw that. I was like, what's going on there? And then it was just as amazed to see it stop and go right back up again. Anyway, so we had some of that yesterday as well, near the end of the day. I can scroll back to it. That was last night. I guess that was here, right? Yesterday afternoon. Right? This was poised to move higher. And if we can scroll this back, what we had was this move to the downside, and then it held and the wide range bar, and it just consolidated up there. And I was already long with an expectation, of course, it was going to go up. It was after the breakdown and the failure. And, in the green room, I had my stop under there. So when it perked up there and immediately reversed and got back down, I mean, the stops were controlled by the computer software, and thank goodness, because otherwise you can't react fast enough, right? So anyway, it went down and then reversed, and it went right back up again. So you take away from this, I guess, which could be a trap in of itself, that no matter how deep the dip is to the downside, the buyers are lurking there, and they're going to buy it. But we shall see. In any event, as bullish as that price action is, it hasn't taken out these highs yet. So you can see the hourly chart has been working its way up there, and that's real. Normally you would look at that tail and say, oh, that's got to be bad data. Well, it wasn't, because you can see it right here that it went down and came back up again. When it's bad data, you don't see this. Right? You might see a dot and down here and just right back up. Anyway, so now this is where the sellers are. What is it going to do? Well, based on yesterday's price action, the overnight price action, well, if this was a closing bar, which it's not, if it was a closing candle, I would say it's going to take that out and it's going to go higher. Now, it's not that any of us know the future with 100% certainty, but when we see patterns like this, where buyer on the dip, buyer on the dip, buyer on the dip, buyers are going to have to get more aggressive at some point and push it through the resistance, because the sellers are lurking up here. So the battle is reaching an inflection point. I mentioned this yesterday, and yesterday obviously wasn't the day to break down or break up. So now we've got a little bit more price action. So maybe, I'm not sure that today's the day, because as I look at this, it went down. Now it's come back up. And so as we look at the spiders, and 413, 314, I should say, we're getting a gap up to the top of the range. So gapping up into this resistance area right here, there's going to be sellers there. So it's going to be kind of tricky. So the safer play would be if it pulls in and buying into the gap fill or the top of this gap right here, or possibly a failure to the downside, right? Meaning it gaps up and maybe it comes down and rips right back up again. Ideally, I'd like to see it push up, come back in, maybe what Dan calls a a bear sandwich, which is a green bar and a red bar followed by a green bar. I'd like to see that on a 5-minute chart. So we shall see. It's going to be tricky here, but obviously, this bearish pattern of the Bear Island reversal, the gap up, the sideways, get the move down, and then the gap up above the red bar. And this, more or less, as it appears to be developing as to a downward sloping bullish consolidation into the support, and now this gap up. So now the question is, as it gaps up, well, clearly it better not go deep into this yesterday's green bar. So this is what bar by bar analysis is about, is looking at individual candles, putting them together in an overall broader structure and a trend, and updating this information objectively. And we have to have tools like that. I mean, that's why as I developed these things over the years, it was to force myself, and this is what all of us have to do as individual traders, to force ourselves to kind of divorce ourselves from our prior opinions. Meaning, when we see a trend happening, well, we believe it's going to keep going up, and it's at the point, rightly so. But we get a pattern like this and so bearish, and of course that means it should keep going down. And this overall is kind of craziness, that it comes down like this and then gaps up and then it's doing this. But when you learn to use bar by bar analysis and you learn to use multiple time frames, which is what we're looking here, if you can kind of, how should I say this? Give yourself up to a higher power, meaning the market, and leave your opinion behind, you'll be much better off for sure. And during this craziness, recognizing that Mr. Schizophrenic is lurking out there just waiting to clobber you, you will trade accordingly. And eventually, this pattern will develop into something that has more certainty to it. So here's the takeaway from all that is we're dealing with what's called playing in the nut house, so to speak, with this gap up, gap down, gap up, overlapping bars, big dips, and back up again. So we know who we're dealing with here. So be nimble, be careful, maybe trade a little bit smaller, and be safe. All right, NQs. Looking good. Right. So a cleaner type of a pattern, a topping tail ignored at the prior high here and a gap reversal and pushing up, and suggests it should continue to move up, and it better not go under that bar's low. And ideally, as with the dip, it came into the middle of the wide range bar and buyers stepped up. So it should keep going up until it stops. And you can see this little consolidation here on the 15-minute chart. Ideally, it doesn't break below that. Pretty quiet over the last few hours. Let's look at the cues. So some bullish price action there. Yesterday, the reversal, 248 and change. So it's clearing the highs. It's going to gap up. Maybe waiting for a pullback into the gap fill or some 5 or 15-minute pattern or something to hold up here, that it could keep going. And YM, got to bring up the rear, up at resistance. So some sellers showing up over there. But overall, setting up like it wants to go higher. Russell, kind of messy. Cleared the high. Well, it cleared this high over here. You can see the weekly charts. You got to keep in mind the weekly charts as to that big nasty reversal here. This kind of price action is suggesting that it could be able to take that out. But so far, you know, well, this wasn't as bad, but it's the Qs have negated that. The S&Ps have not yet. So not totally out of the woods. You got to, you know, based on this price action, you have to have a bias that this is going to go higher, because that's what's happening in this moment. Up at that high there, well, that's the unknown. But if it can clear these highs, well, that's a pretty nice little space or void to pop up to go into those areas. So we'll just have to see what actually plays out here. Bonds, maybe a double top here, chopping around. Not interested in this pattern myself. Oil, pushing higher. Right. Market's going higher. Oil's going higher. And I thought I changed that contract. Guess I didn't save it. There's a little profit taking going on there. Not a big deal. A little intraday M top. For those of you that an example of it, you got a little momentum run and then a retest and a new high failure right there. A little bit of a shock pattern. You might want to capture that, print it out for reference in the future as to a short-term setup, suggesting a pullback. And what's the pictures there? Qs we looked at. Russell, not Russell, the transports. Just a mess. It's such a big mess here. So the craziness is probably not over. Markets have been day to day here for a little while, of course, with this crazy price action. You know, the gap up, the gap down, the gap up, this overlapping bars and so on. So we know what we're dealing with. Right? And so there should be no surprise if there's more whipsaws along the way here. So, I mean, that is one of the biggest advantages and takeaways from as you're trading. Of course, we're always looking for where's the opportunity to make money, but recognizing that you're not dealing with a pattern like this, which is supportive of it's going up and the majorities are in agreement with that belief and trend. I said got overheated here, but now there's a wide discrepancy between beliefs as to what's going on, and that's what increases the gaps, the wide bars, the tails, and the overlapping bars. So as we look at pictures communicate to us in candle language, as I like to call it, what's happening. And when it gets crazy here, right, just for the moment call this Mr. Schizophrenics nut house that's inviting you in for a good time, condense the data and look at a higher time frame and see if things have calmed down. And while we see bigger bars here, as we look at this pattern, it's become directionless from what it was doing here. So again, knowing what you're dealing with will keep you out of trouble. It's bar by bar analysis, and what I'm explaining here forces you to accept what is, keeps you honest in a sense. So that's it. All yours, Dan.
Hey, can you say the part again about the pattern inviting you in for a good time? I like that.
Yes, that's what Nancy Pelosi's doing for you, Dan. She's inviting you and just waiting for you to show up. Her and Maxine are going to do you wrong.
They're going to be waiting a long time.
I didn't look at silver, but I'll just let me take a peek here. Sorry, I didn't look at that, but it's a mess. I wouldn't, it's moving up to the top of the range.
SLV.
Yeah, I was looking at the silver futures.
All right, let's take a look at our opens. Q's again the strongest. The other three have sold off a little bit in the last 20-30 minutes. Q's holding like a tank. Remember, I was pounding the table on this 15-minute Amazon yesterday and Apple, and I said, whoever doesn't mind overnight gap risk, I like both of those. So whoever did them, you're getting paid for your overnight risk. Nice. Weekly options trader here. Go real quick. ATVI, put spread for Friday. Facebook, put spread for Friday. Kroger, call spread Friday. NVIDIA, put spread. Team, put spread. Beautiful, beautiful red bar Nord example. XBI, BIOS broke out. We have a put spread, and we actually gave that directional in our ETF trader. And Uber. So I thought we didn't get our credit, so I sent out a text saying cancel it, but then somebody told me no, they did get filled. So I put that in the open column. Swing letter, Mr. Bill, long, Cato, short. Don't like the the new low reversal here on volume. So we'll just keep our original stop. H, let me give you all an adjustment for those that did not get the Telegram text. I sent this out pre-market, so we'll leg into a put debit spread if it trades over that number. J&J, we're still short. Whole X, long, looks great. You can add over the highs. Pfizer, 1/3 position. Short, PSXP, shorted that. Varex, we're short in trail mode. Visto, long. WST, long. Zynga, long. So everything looks totally fine. We have a lot of opens and they look great. Abby, just email me. And just as an FYI, you have to be a subscriber to the respective advisory letter. Yeah, just email me then. Yeah, but some people come in the green room like, hey, I didn't get my telegram. One of you mentioned that Greg's coffee shop here finally getting delisted. And you see pre-market here, it's getting whacked. This big old gap up, 695. It's a big gap, but actually it's bullish pre-market. If you could get a W bottom, a retest, that could be a nice day trade. Workhorse, yeah, it's been on a tear and looks higher. You just got to decide, is it day trade or swing trade? Where's your stop? But that's a bullish pre-market, sure. Intel, we all know that Apple said they're going to stop using them. Didn't really affect them much. They didn't participate with the strength of the Qs, but they're holding fairly well. Maybe it was priced in. Little whatever. We're going to be talking about trading this MT live on tomorrow. Trading these explosive patterns, talking about there's always some type of mania that people are focused on right now, these bios and Corona stocks. And, even we mentioned yesterday, we mentioned the minority owned business stocks are ripping now. They're at the top day trader stocks over at Robinhood, and they're a toy for the day traders. This gap in the 305. Again, it could, maybe 30-minute high. INO. I think this was another, bio, but this one's settling down. It's still a big gap, but this one's worth watching, actually. Yesterday it broke out. Yesterday would have been a very nice entry. Splunk, somebody on YouTube's asking. It had a gap breakout yesterday. We love this type of reversal right here. Downside shakeout, red bar, inside bar, green bar. That's a powerful reversal. That would have been a good put spread candidate. Right now, you know, top and tail yesterday. I can't tell where it's opening, but it's a watch. It's at all-time highs. Looks good. Yeah, NOW we had as a put spread candidate yesterday, and I actually looked pre-market for a put spread, and they're way too spreading. That's why yesterday you all were seeing it when you logged it up. You're like, oh, I can get 75 cents. Oh, now it's 82. Now it's 45. It's because of the crazy spreads. All right, selling, picking up a little more here pre-market. So we will pretty much be sidelined. Oh, Nikla also, folks, this put spread. I sent this alert pre-market. Let me give you this. We're already, see there. Oh yeah, nice. Yeah, space. I sent. We're gonna try to get a put spread at space. You know, nice gap breakout on volume. Today, Upwork. Sanjay plug. Hey, Adam, if you can change your drop down to all panelists and attendees. Plug 604. It's a beautiful, it's a gap breakout. I like it. Let me put that right here. Now I want to go to my monthly. This could be a core trade. Well, when you spread out the data, maybe not, but that's definitely worth watching. All right, so plugs, yeah, it's a bullish, that's on the list, bullish pre-market. But let's see, Adam was asking me about, no, Adam, you would not do GDXJ and GDX, no. No, you would only do one of them. The J is levered, and I'm actually not even sure if it has, you know, what the different components are, but they're both gold miners, so no, you would only do one of them. We actually gave GDX a long to our ETF trader yesterday. MYOV, Sanjay. 18, yeah, looks great. This is not a bull flag, but it's a bull rectangle consolidation, top half of a WRB. That looks fantastic. Yeah, looks great. So, all right, so we got two tier, well, this one's tier 1. The other one's just a watch. Oh, and I also posted F-SLY here. You know, this is the biggest green bar. This is a beautiful breakout. We actually were in it. We obviously left some money on the table. Wow. Look at that. Wow. But now it's gapping up $5 after this run. I surely would not be buying it, but I have it on my upper right here for a possible gap and crap. Credit spread. Starbucks, there's no price void on the daily. That doesn't do anything for me, Mark. They're the juniors on GDXJ. IVZ. 30-minute high, maybe, Jason. It's gapping right to this prior high with the market coming in. So I am not going to be in a buying mood here at the open. I would be into, you know, if you have nice gains, I'd be into selling gaps and then hitting the sidelines and waiting for a new setup. Here's another toy, it looks like. Gap's too big for me. FFHL. That was a nice bar yesterday. That was a nice gap and go. But it's gapping up big, no pattern now, but we'll keep an eye on it. Khaled, SO, we had that as a short, but it didn't take out the 5-minute low, but it's a bear, 1, 2, 3, sure. Under the lows, Khaled, looks good. JB Hunt, got an upgrade, no pattern. Shoe Carnival, got, I thought it was gapping up. They announced some same store positive sales or something. Did I lose my pre-market data? Yep. I mean, this is showing here in my mind are up $1.92, but I don't see any prints. But it's actually, it's a put spread candidate. Although I don't like the red bar, I think we can find better. Dunking Lou, it's the daily, that's a nasty reversal. Closing under all of this bullish consolidation, it's gapping up. It would be a day trade at most. There's no swing there whatsoever. Tim was asking about sand. Sand is in GDXJ. It looks great. That's a gap breakout. Let's see, that's what our bigger time frames. This very, yes, I like it. I mean, it's hard for me to call a core trade something this extended on the monthly, but what I'm showing you is, you know, it's been like a couple year trading range here and it's breaking out. And this is what we call a price void. See a momentum fluid move down. You know, this actually was a very compelling entry right here. Wide range bar, reverse head and shoulders. And it didn't go very far and it failed. But anyway, it has a price void. This thing maybe target 11 bucks. I like it. I like it. That's going on my list. Yeah. Hey, Debbie. Mark, why delist you gas? I'm not sure what that means. You gas. Yeah, these are natural gas ETFs. Oh yeah, one's just the inverse. That's all. AAL had news that they're doing a secondary offering at 1350, and you know, just using common sense, that's going to have a dilutive effect if it's like putting your stock on sale. It closed yesterday at whatever 14 whatever, and now you're saying, oh, I'm going to issue some new stock at 1350. So, you know, airlines are still in trouble. They're stay aways for me right now. Even though I love trading beat up junk sectors, we still need a pattern like always. Synopsis, yep, beautiful 180 reversal. It's a watch. Let's see what it does. Oh, look, Synopsis was right on my next one right here. And Jets. And we had a couple of bios, info. These are just leftover stocks from yesterday. Cass, Zest, WTI is garbage. Oh, some of these were earnings, I think. IVR has to get off the mat. Oh, here's our F-SLY. Actually, I wish the gap were bigger, because visually, yeah, it's a gap, but you know, I like gap and craps. Visually are just huge. It's like it's the final explosion of jet fuel. Let's see, it's turning right here. Let's see what the $85 calls for Friday, $1 by $1.45. But the out of the money ones, unless you did the $100 calls, 0 by 15, the spreads are too wide. But that would be, let's